Welcome back to the Females Thriving Over 30 podcast. What if the worst breakup of your life ended up becoming the best thing that ever happened to you? That's what we're going to be talking about with today's guest, who went from rock bottom after a broken engagement to becoming the happiest version of herself in just 365 days, simply by doing one small action a day. And today we're going to be talking to her about exactly how she did that, which I'm very excited to hear about.
Ew.
But before we delve into that, let's just catch up about our week. So how are you doing? How was your week?
It's been busy. Like work has been a little bit crazy and maniac. So I've just been trying to rest as much as possible this weekend. Saturday was just cleaning my house. I hate like can't someone just come and clean my house? Or can I just have like Sabrina the Teenage Witch thing and go "Ching," and my whole house is cleaned? That'd
Why?
be
It just
amazing.
feels like it's a never-ending job, honestly. Like, just never ends.
Yeah.
There's never an end point, is there?
Yeah, and when you have pets, like like there is
Yeah,
hair everywhere.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
the
yeah,
pet, whatever is a dog or a cat, they go brrr, and then I
yeah.
have just vacuum. That's
Well, I've got something I can tell you about today that links really closely with what you just said. I don't know if I've told you that we've been victims of a brushing scam. Have you heard of a brushing scam before? Which is
no, what is
so
that?
it's basically this bit doesn't link to what you just said, but the next bit does. Okay, so for like the last I'd say at least 3 weeks, maybe even a month, we've been receiving multiple Amazon parcels a day to the person that used to live here. So to the point where, like, after a few days, there was like 12 parcels, and I was thinking, what is going on? So I found the person that used to live here on Facebook, and I reached out and I just said, "Are you aware that you are sending parcels to our house? Because I'm conscious that there's a lot of parcels that have turned up for
Yeah.
you, and we've lived here must be 5 years nearly."
Oh, good.
So I'm thinking this is a long time ago to be getting parcels. Anyway, he's like, "No, I haven't been buying anything on Amazon." I said, "Well, maybe you should check your account because I don't know if you've been hacked or what, but you are receiving loads of parcels in your name." And he looked and he was like, "No, like nothing. There's nothing." So then we both looked it up and we both messaged each other saying, "Okay, it sounds like it's this scam." And it's called a brushing scam. And it's basically where they make a fake Amazon account in somebody's details
Yeah.
and then they buy or like send them loads of stuff that they then fake review on Amazon.
Oh.
So we were just getting like parcel after parcel, and when we obviously then we opened them because we knew they weren't his. Obviously, we weren't going to open somebody's parcels, but we knew they weren't for him, and we knew it must be this brushing scam. And it was just like boxes and boxes of like toothpicks initially. That's we were just like constant. Then we started getting like wigs and like hair cap, like head, like hair things that
Yeah,
you
head
wear and
nets.
stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like loads, just random stuff. But then this afternoon, my husband arrives home from work and sitting on our doorstep, there's sometimes you can see what things are from Amazon.
Mhm.
It's a pet grooming, like it's like a vacuum. It looks like a vacuum
Oh,
cleaner,
yes. Yes, I go,
and then
yeah.
it has loads of ends on it where you can I think you can I think you can like trim their hair,
I'm
and you
loving this
can
brushing scam. Like, you're getting a lot of things for free.
yeah, but we didn't want any of the other stuff.
Well, it doesn't matter. But you got like, you don't want the thing? Give it to me. I want
Oh,
the pet grooming thing.
oh yeah, but this is the first time. My husband was like, "Ooh!"
Yeah.
So he's had it all out in the living room, putting all the attachments and stuff. Because obviously we have a dog, so it's like
Yeah.
brilliant. I'm gonna groom
Have you
Bruno
tried
with
it?
this. Not yet,
No.
no.
Oh.
He's been like playing around, looking at it and all the stuff. But it's this full on. It looks like he opened it and there's all attachments. It looks like a bloody Dyson Airwrap.
Yeah.
All different ends. It's got a hairdryer.
But
It's
I'm confused though about this brushing scam because like someone is paying for these things.
Well,
But
this is the
who's
bit
paying
like
for them?
I don't get it. So all the other stuff we got was just like cheap stuff
Mhm.
in boxes. So I think what they do is they make the people that make the account own the marketplace that's selling all the stuff. So obviously they're not actually spending their money
yeah.
because they buy the stuff and then they send you something in a box to make it, I guess, look like they've sent you a thing. So all
Yeah.
those toothpicks probably weren't bought as toothpicks, they were probably bought under other products.
Yeah.
And then they use that
Ooh.
person's name to leave reviews. So, like, you can't trust reviews when
Cannot
you're on, like,
trust reviews
Amazon.
now. What?
All those reviews might just be completely fake.
And I am here deciding what I'm getting on Amazon by their reviews.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. Not
So
anymore.
there we go. So it just made me think, 'cause you're saying about cleaning your house and having
Yeah.
pets. We've got to use pet device.
Well, that's a much better story than me trying to clean my house.
Well, I didn't think to tell
Oh.
you before because it was nothing really of note. It was annoying that we were just
Yeah.
receiving, like, it's still annoying because we receive them pretty much every day, and then
Yeah.
they just go in the recycling bin
Yeah.
because, like, if we
No,
catch the if we
open them. Dude, you never know what you're gonna get. Maybe something cool like the pet groomer.
when when the Amazon like, whenever we catch the driver, because the thing
Yeah.
is, they often just drop them, like, at the
Yeah.
door and go, they don't actually knock. But whenever we're in or whatever and we hear them or see them, we run straight out and we're like, "Can you take this back and send it back to Amazon?" And I
Yeah.
have reported it on Amazon as well. You can go on and report a
Mhm.
brushing scam. So I've put in some of the parcel codes, but I've not heard anything back, so it's just continuing to
Yeah,
happen.
but think about it. Like, even if that's the case and you're receiving these parcels with like random stuff in it, you can then take them to charity shops and they might be making their day in, I don't know, like wigs and things
20
like that.
boxes of
You know,
toothpicks.
it's toothpicks. You can take them to a restaurant. It's like, look, guys, free toothpicks. You know, I mean, here I don't know if restaurants use toothpicks too much, but in Spain they do. So,
Do they?
yeah, because
They have them in restaurants.
you use them for like picking up the olives
Ah,
and
yeah.
eating them and stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
and then to clean
Yeah.
your teeth after you eat them.
Yeah, yeah. It's because 'cause you're having all, like, tapas dishes and stuff, aren't you? So
Yeah,
little, like, nibbles, yeah.
yeah. Oh, that story made my day. I loved it.
Yeah, so if you ever need help with, like, cleaning up your pet stuff, I'll put it in my boot and I'll be down there.
Yes. I feel like Mofrete will be like this, listening to, because I always, like pets are maybe dogs not, but like cats at least are petrified from with the vacuum, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
like, how noisy it is. Do the cats
Yeah.
like? Is it
I'll
just
film it.
dogs? Or?
I'll get it going and I'll send you a video.
Okay, okay, perfect. Um, I canceled my Amazon like Kindle Unlimited, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I finished some of the books that I had already read, and I was just like, okay, let me see what is the deals that for 99p. So I bought a
Mhm.
couple of books, and then
Yeah.
the other day on Instagram, I pop up ad, Kindle Unlimited for 99p for 3 months, and I was like, oh,
You
get
got it for
get
99p
for
for
three
3
months.
months.
Yeah,
So good.
so now I got
Okay,
like
I should
so
do
many
that on
books.
Liam's Kindle if I can find the offer,
Yeah,
and then I can read on there
yeah.
because he's not using it at the moment, so I can borrow it.
So I am currently reading a book that I am pretty sure is the one that you talked about the play date that we couldn't find. Like,
Oh,
is that
yeah.
about like this mom that comes to pick up her kid from a play date and it's like a wrong address?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one I'm reading. I'm about to finish it. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I haven't read it, but I've watched the thing.
It's
It was
cool.
like a series or something on Netflix, I'm sure, that I
Mm.
watched of that. So let me know what the book's like, because I would read the book as
Yeah, the
well.
book so far is
Yeah.
good.
Oh, terrifying though.
So I know.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I'm asking like like why did you even do that?
So you're not far into the book yet, so you don't know
Yeah, yeah,
why or
yeah, yeah. I
anything.
am.
You know
I have
why?
1 hour left. No, I don't know why yet.
Okay.
I'm
Oh,
about
okay.
to find out.
Okay, because I know why, but I'm not going to spoil it for
Oh yeah,
you.
please don't.
I've been collecting loads of books from charity shops. The problem is obviously with us hopefully moving house in a few months. Right now, I'm like basically creating boxes and boxes of books that I should probably wait until I've moved house before I purchase any more books. But it's become like, do you know, like when you're just out and about and I see a charity shop, I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
I'll check for books. It's like become a bit of a habit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'd be good. It'd be good for my moving situation if I use the Kindle for a couple of months, I think.
Yes.
So, without further ado, I think we should get ready to welcome our guest, the episode today. So obviously I mentioned at the beginning that she went through the worst breakup of her life, and a broken engagement meant that she had to rebuild her life. So we're going to be breaking down exactly how she did that in 365 days. So if you are going through a breakup, a life reset, or you feel stuck in some way, then this episode should hopefully be a nice blueprint for you for how you can do one small thing every day to change that. So let's welcome in our guest.
Huh?
So we've already told the viewers a bit about, the breakup that you went through and then how you transformed your life to the happiest version of yourself. So do you want to just introduce yourself, a little bit about you, and then a little bit more about your story?
Okay, so my name is Amy. I'm known as Amy Rebecca online. I am an author, a content creator, a recently formed business owner. So I'm still a baby business owner at the moment. It's a little bit overwhelming, a little bit scary. And also a pageant girl, because I know both of you have been involved in pageants. So yeah, I just wanted to come on and to kind of talk about my experience going through a really bad breakup. I was sat here earlier just thinking about like what I wanted to say to you. And even now, like having come out the other side of it, I look back and I think it was just a breakup. But I think sometimes you go through breakups that are just breakups, and other times you go through breakups that break you. And that's what that definitely was for me. And it took me to what I like to call the basement of rock bottom, where I just felt like I was living in this pit of despair. And yeah, happy to report that after a lot of time and effort and taking small steps in the right direction, I truly believe that I am the happiest version of myself. I think what I've found now is contentment.
So obviously, like I'm pretty sure your story is going to resonate with so many women, um, and men, because we actually get a lot of men now listening to our podcast, which is amazing. As you said, like we all go through breakups. There are very different type of breakups. The ones that you made, like you decide to break with the other person. That can feel like really painful, but sometimes, usually, it's a little bit different when someone breaks up with you that you would not expect, and then it's kind of like the end of the world. But what was the exact moment that made you realize that kind of like this breakup completely broke you?
I'm going to give you context so it
Yeah,
all makes a
perfect.
bit more sense. So at the time, I was living in Bahrain. That is where I met
Okay.
my ex-fiance. We met, we got engaged, and to my core, to this day, I maintain that he is one of the best people I've ever met. He is just lovely, a sweetheart. And that was something that I had not experienced in relationships previously. I had a history of an emotionally abusive relationship. And so this was kind of like the first healthy relationship I'd had. And it felt magical to me. And with all my heart, loved him. So we got engaged. We were going to get married. He was from the States. So the plan was I quit my job in Bahrain and we were going to move to America for a specified period of time and then move back to the UK. And I remember like I'd quit my job. This as well was during the height of the pandemic. So
Okay.
I had flown home to the UK to say goodbye to my parents, pack up my stuff and move to America. So in the chaos of all of that, I was talking to him about moving and all of this stuff. And he said, I've actually decided that I don't want to move to the UK in the end. Like I just want us to stay in America forever. And it just hit me out of nowhere. And I was like, well, that wasn't what I had kind of envisioned for myself. It wasn't what I agreed to. And for weeks, I'd mulled this over and it was like such a pit in my stomach of like, I want to be with this person, but that's not the life that I want for myself. And I remember just having this conversation with him of like, that's one thing I can't do. Like, if you can't compromise on it, I just don't see how we can be together. And I sat at the top of the stairs in my parents' house and I hung up the phone and I was like, oh my God, my whole life is over. I don't know what to do now because I've given up my job. I've left my apartment. I've come back on a holiday to visit my parents and now I'm stuck here because of the pandemic. And I do not know what I'm going to do next.
Yeah. Wow.
I feel like this is like I was expecting a breakup, but it's got so many layers to it because you quit your job. Like it was like huge steps that you were taking towards this as well, you know, and huge life altering things. So what can you tell us about one of the first steps that you took? You've mentioned you took steps to be able to start to put things back together. When did you feel that turning point, and what's that first step that you took that sent you in the right direction?
It took me a really long time to even begin to figure out how I was going to feel better. Because I think I just like you said, combination of a lot of things, losing your job, global pandemic, breakup, just everything all at once. It just felt very difficult. And my mental health took a real turn for the worst. And it was really hard to pull myself up out of that because you couldn't go outside. You couldn't see your friends. I couldn't get a new job, and just being stuck in the house with nothing but my own thoughts for a really long time was very, very difficult. So we broke up in the July of 2020, and it wasn't until maybe 10 months later that I finally got to a point where I was like, okay, it kind of felt like now or never, because my mental health was in such a dark place. I had tried to put things into place to try and, cheer myself up. Nothing had worked. And I was like, you've got to give this all your energy now. Like, if you don't pull yourself up out of this, you could have a proper full-blown breakdown. And it's like serious. And I told myself, do you know what? All I want to do is to be able to say, by this time next year, I am not miserable. That's all. That's all I set myself the goal of. Like, by this time next year, I'm going to feel okay. And I said, so 365 days, every single day, you're going to do one positive thing for yourself. Something really small, something really achievable. And by the end of 3 months in, I had completely changed my life around. I was expecting it was going to take a full year, but 3 months of doing small positive actions every day completely changed my mindset, and I was in a better place than I had been in years.
In a way, you were completely blindsided, right, with this relationship, because you have this type of conversations. You decide to, as you said, like completely leave the life that you had in Bahrain. The plan is we're going to be in the US for a certain time and then we're going to move to the UK. If that was never in his plans or he had doubts about it, he should have told you beforehand. So I understand why this breakup broke you so much, because it was a complete, destruction of absolutely everything, every single part of the plan that you have for the next few years, right? And I understand like what you were just doing, like saying positive thing every day, because as we've learned in a few episodes ago, neuroplasticity is very important on how you can rewire your brain and make yourself feel better. So is that kind of like the tip that you will give someone that is listening now, going through a breakup, about the first thing that they need to do? Or do you have any other tips that you could give them?
I think, it's about small positive actions. And I always use this analogy of the montage moment that we see in movies, where it gets they get to rock bottom and then they have this fabulous montage where they just pull it all together in the space of around 45 seconds to fabulous music. And then their whole life has changed and we get back on track with the plot. And I think people want that when they hit rock bottom. They want to be like, okay, well, starting tomorrow, I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm going to get 8 hours of sleep. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to start a book club. I'm going to do all these things. And no one person can just become a new version of themselves overnight. And I think that we want that, obviously, because you want to feel better. You want to feel healed. You don't want to feel this way anymore. But instead of trying to change everything all at once. I think taking the approach of saying, okay, well, what's one small thing I can do for myself today? What's one small thing I can do for myself tomorrow? It's so much more achievable. And actually, I, to my core, believe that you will achieve so much more that way because you're not going to get burned out. You're not going to feel overwhelmed and you will stick to it. I mean, I've been doing this. I like to call it my this time next year challenge. And I've been doing it since 2021. Every single day since 2021, I've woken up and I've done one small positive thing. And it has changed my life. Didn't change it overnight, but I think I'd rather have change that lasts than change that lasts for 2 weeks and then I'm back where I started.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's changed your beliefs in what life should look like? Because we talk about this a lot, and it's like we have this expectation of our life, or we have an idea of what our life is going to look like, or when certain things are going to happen. And obviously, I mean, the relationship in itself and moving to America was probably quite unexpected to decide to do that anyway.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, when that ended, that's another unexpected change of plan when you've already then got this idea of what's going to happen next. Is there anything that you could say it's changed about fundamentally how you think about life and how you're supposed to live your life?
Yeah, a million things. So I think like a lot of women, when I was younger, I had this vision of when I'm in my 30s, I'm going to have it all together and I'm going to have, you know, this really nice house and the husband and the dog and the 2 kids and the whole thing wrapped up in a bow. And if I didn't have that, that was the worst possible outcome for me because like that's what you're supposed to have. And all of this happened right as I turned 29. And so I was going into my 30s like, oh, now I don't have anyone and I don't have a job and all of these things. And it felt so overwhelming. And now I've realized like all I have to do is just work towards whatever is going to make me happy right now. And that shifts and it changes. So that's why I like to work towards a goal that I'm like working towards for a year and then reflect. Do I still care about these things? Do I feel like I've achieved what I want to achieve there and I can change things? And if so, yes, like I can move things around. I can work towards new goals. And I think I live a bit more fluidly rather than thinking I must tick off this arbitrary list of things I have to achieve by a certain time. It's more like, okay, well, what's important to me right now? And can I pursue those things? And if those things aren't important to me in 6 months, that's okay. We can just change direction.
Yeah. You know, I might to say like each breakup is very different. The way that we take breakups is also very different, depends on the situation. But you having gone through healing after a breakup, is there any misconception about healing that you want to maybe clarify, or maybe something that you want to say about healing after a breakup?
I think for me, and like you say, every breakup is different. And I think where I had gone wrong in the past is that when I'd gone through breakups, none as dramatic as 2020, because that took the cake. But when I'd gone through breakups in the past, I'd always kind of looked for validation in other areas. Like, okay, well then how can I be better at my job? How can I lose 10 pounds? How can I find something that's going to make me feel better? And I think after this whole event, I think just finding like contentment, not contentment in where you are as in the misery of the breakup, because that's a horrible place to be. But just finding contentment in myself and learning that like I am enough. Like I deserve to be happy. I don't have to lose weight to do that. I don't have to get a promotion to do that. I don't have to buy a bunch of stuff to do that. And rather just focusing on like, okay, how can I make myself feel better where I am right now without jumping through a bunch of hoops and trying to validate myself with external things?
I couldn't agree more with the fact that like I feel like I'm like a serial goal setter and achiever, like and I have been for a really long time. And it's not until I'd say this year that I've taken the period of time where I'm like, I'm not setting myself any goals. Like I just want to be. I just want to like be myself and be in my life and enjoy it. Like we work towards all these things, but we're not necessarily taking the time to just enjoy the things that we've got.
Yeah.
And it's so right. It's okay to just exist and to just like that's enough in itself.
And I always say like with the This Time Next Year challenge, I talk about it on my TikTok a lot of like what the thought process is of that and like how people can do it. And one of the things I say is that you need, if you're like trying to improve your life, you need to have 3 things. You need to have things that you're turning into habits, like positive things, whether that's working out more, drinking more water, like good positive things for yourself. You need to have things that your future self will thank you for, which are those awful one-off jobs, like when you have to go to the bank or you have to like clear out the attic that you hate to do, but you know it's going to make your life easier. And you have to do things that bring you joy. And you need all 3 of those things. Even if it's not productive, even if all you do, your one positive action of the day is like, go have ice cream. And people will be like, oh, that's not achieving anything. And it's like, no, that's bringing you joy. Like life is meant to be enjoyed. Like just because it's not productive doesn't mean that it's not valuable.
Mm. That is very important. One of the things that I have been doing recently has been reflecting a lot on my journey, especially when I was preparing everything for the TEDx. And I was just like, why I am such an efficient sucker. Like I wanted everything is to be efficient and it doesn't, So it's okay to enjoy life. It's okay to do things that are not efficient but that bring you joy. So I think that is very important.
Yeah, definitely. And once you start like focusing more on what brings you joy, I think you just find more joy in your day. Like, what you focus on, you notice more.
It's the Marie Kondo of the breakups and the surviving,
Yeah.
right? So, find what brings you joy.
I wanted to ask, was there a moment that you realized you were happier? Do you remember the moment where you realized like, oh, I'm really happy now and maybe even happier than I was before all of this happened?
I remember a distinct moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm okay. I remember that distinctly because I had joined a dance class, bearing in mind, I have 2 left feet and no rhythm. And I just wanted something that I was going to be like, I need something that I had no association with, like in my previous life, that's brand new, that is just something for me. So I joined this dance class and I used to cry all the way there and cry all the way back. But for the hour that I was dancing, I would be concentrating so I wouldn't cry. And then a few months into this dance class, I got about 5 minutes away from home, driving home, singing along to the radio. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't cried. I haven't cried. And it was this moment of like, oh my gosh, this is the turning point. Like I'm getting better. And I did cry after that many, many more times because it's not a linear healing experience. But I think those moments of just realizing like, oh my gosh, today is a little bit better than yesterday. When you're going through a breakup, those little moments matter so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're like me, then you cry for anything anyway. So
Have you
it's
seen,
normal.
sorry, this is complete
too.
tangent. Punch the Monkey. Have you seen him?
No.
Oh, don't even look. He's this little macaque and he hasn't got any friends at the zoo. I cry about him all the time.
Okay, yeah, don't show it to me. I'll be crying.
Very
Don't show
sad.
it to me.
I won't sleep tonight worrying about him if I watch it.
No. Okay. You've also said that you wrote a book. So tell us all about the book. What was the process? Did you get like how do you publish a book? Tell us all about it.
Well, it was at that time, it was like right in the midst of basement of rock bottom territory. And I was working with a life coach and she was having me do a lot of written exercises because I was struggling to kind of communicate to her how I was feeling. And she was like, you're much better when you write. So just write it down and then you can read it to me. So I was doing a lot of this writing. And I mean, you know that episode of Friends where he's like, it's 15 pages front and back. That was me. I was like turning up to my life coach with like wads of paper, like, and these are all the feelings I have. And eventually I just thought, I'm going to turn this into something that can be beneficial to other people because one day I'm going to feel better and I'm going to be on the other side of this terrible feeling. And I need to document how I feel right now Because I think so often the annoying thing about going through a breakup is someone will be like, oh, I've been through a breakup. I know how it feels. But when you're in it, it's so intense and it's so difficult that it feels like, yeah, but you don't really know how I feel. So I wanted to write something like throughout my healing process. So as I was writing this book, I was getting better. And you can see when you read the book, like the transformation in my way of thinking and how I'm feeling about things. But I wanted it to be written from the perspective of someone who's like, is it going to be okay? I actually don't really know. Because then I think as you're reading it, if you're in that situation, that's so relatable. And then you can see how, yeah, it does turn out okay in the end. Because ultimately it always turns out okay in the end.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite validating to have someone be able to read that and think, this is exactly how I feel actually.
I think the issue can be that a lot of these things that happen in life, people can almost downplay or not. Sometimes I feel like they're not given the same amount of patience or understanding
Yeah.
as necessarily that they need, or people might think that it's not, it's not the end of the world. There's like the
Yeah, like,
term, like
get over it.
there's
Get
plenty of
over it.
fish in the sea. There's so many fish in the sea.
Yeah.
People, we tend to kind of brush things off, I think, a little bit as a society, or just try and rush people through the process of feeling better about things. But really, to me, something significant like a breakup, you're almost grieving somebody, right?
Yes.
Like, it's you had somebody there in your life, and then all of a sudden they are gone, and you don't have that person. So there must be a process of grief almost when you're going through that. So it is a
Because
big
it's not
thing
just
to
the person,
happen.
right? But also the life that you
Yeah.
pictured and
Yeah.
your whole
Mhm.
future, right?
And the life you
Yeah.
have, because when you're with someone, you wake up next to them. They're the person you
Mhm.
talk to over breakfast. They're the person you call, like, so all that is suddenly like taken away from you. You're like, I don't actually remember who I am without that person.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and sometimes you may even find yourself like, oh, emergency call or whatever, and calling like, no, he's hung up. No, he's not my emergency person anymore.
That's probably a good thing to mention. Did you find, you don't have to go into details about this, obviously it's your personal situation, so you don't have to answer. But did you find it easy when it ended, was it easy to kind of end that communication? I know that a lot of people find that they end up still trying to, still talking to the person, which could potentially prolong the inevitable feeling in the long run. Do you have an experience of that, or what would your advice be to somebody in that situation?
Okay, so my advice would be do the complete opposite of what I did. Like, don't do what I did. Because, like I say, to my core, my ex-fiance is one of my favorite people. If I never would because he lives in California, but if I saw him on the street, I would be thrilled to stop and talk to him because he's a lovely guy.
Mhm.
So to then be like, okay, well, that's my best friend and I'm not going to be able to talk to them. Maybe we could just be friends. Maybe we could still just chat. Maybe I could just call him. Maybe we can talk and we can just be friends. And you can't do that unless you're like superhuman. You can't do that when you're in the midst of the breakup. I think maybe
Yeah.
years down the line, maybe, but when you're going through the heartbreak, trying to maintain a friendship with someone is just too painful. You
Yeah.
need to have space from them so that you understand how to live without them.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't do that. And it became really so much worse for me because he moved on fairly quickly and he got a new girlfriend. And I remember coming home from a day out with my friend and I logged into Instagram and saw a photo of him with her. And I thought that I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I was like, I can't believe any of this is happening. It was like my world imploded. And if I just unfollowed him on Instagram from the beginning, I wouldn't have had to put myself through that. It was like an extra level of heartbreak that I just didn't need. And then after that, I sent him a message and I was like, look, it's going to be way better for me if I just unfollow you, block your number for a while. You know, I still think you're a great person, but I can't do this. And then it became a lot easier. Like everything just became not less painful, but just easier.
Yeah. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I am, and I've always said, and everybody has told me, like, you are so cold. I cannot believe that you do this. Every single ex boyfriend that I had, as soon as the relationship finished, blocked from everywhere. I don't want to see anything that you're doing because I know that it's going to hurt me. I know that if even when I'm bored, I might just go and check what you're doing. So if I block you, even if I look for your name, you're not going to show up anywhere. And people were telling me, like, yeah, but what if, like, it was one of those things that then you break up and then a couple of years later you're meant to be. I said, like, well, if we're meant to be, we'll cross each other on the street one day or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
if it's meant to be, fate will make it happen. But I don't want to see anything at
No.
all or be tempted to look at your social media or have your number on my phone and text you one day when I am like a bit tipsy or whatever. Like, that's just not gonna happen. It's
Yeah.
like completely erased from my life. And I know it sounds harsh, but it really has helped me to be able to move forward, because otherwise I would be comparing my life to his life and where
Mhm.
he's going. And oh my God, he, as you said, like, he just moved on. He's with another girl, and I am here like mopping like a wet towel like this. When am I going to recover? You know?
And thinking
Like,
about it, like your situation, for example, it was like if you were a victim of circumstance
Mhm.
to some extent as well. So if you, especially if you're in a position where you've not chosen to not
Mhm.
be with that person, I imagine staying in contact with them must be even harder because it's like in your head, they're still the same to you as they were
Yeah.
when you were together.
yeah.
There's not like been a shift in you the way you view that person. Really, you're still going to view them in the same way as you did because it was the circumstances that changed things. So
Yeah.
I can imagine how hard that would be because you'd kind of hold on that hope that maybe he'd change his mind about where he'd live or something.
Yeah. And I think because
Yeah.
neither of us wanted to break up, um, we just couldn't. I mean, you can't compromise over, the
Mm.
Atlantic. It just doesn't work.
Yes.
There's no place
Yeah.
in the middle for us to meet. So I think it was difficult. And I think both of us for a really long time were hoping that the other would change their mind. And then you
Mhm.
just like, it's almost like you can't move forward if you've got one foot stuck to the floor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what I was doing by like texting him and calling him and looking like obsessively stalking his Instagram.
Yeah.
No, you can't move forward like that.
Yeah. I feel like back in the day when we were younger, it was much easier for people our age, right? When you break up with someone, there was no social media. Well, maybe you knew the number by heart, though, like the landline or whatever. It was more difficult to erase from
Yeah.
there. But but I think it was easier to kind of like cut contact with somebody. Whether now, yeah, unless you block, it's so easy to
Yeah. And
find
then
the person.
my phone would randomly be like, and here's some memories from a day,
Oh,
a year.
oh
Like,
my
leave me
God.
alone. Why are you doing this to me?
Oh God, yes, because now they do that and they give you
Yeah.
like this little slideshow, right, with all of your
Yeah.
Mhm.
photos. Oh
Mhm.
Cruel.
Yeah.
no, I couldn't. I couldn't.
Yeah. I get them regularly of like Mila as a baby, and it just throws me off for the whole day because then I'm just like, oh, she's so big. But yeah, those memories, like it's great if they're memories you want to see,
Mm,
but not so much if it's like showing
yeah.
you things. And
Yeah.
actually, I've got a question for you. Like when I've not been in this I've been with my husband since I was 17, so we've not been in this situation. But I always think like, so when you break up with someone, how do you decide whether to delete like photos and stuff like that?
Oh,
Because like they're on one hand they're happy memories from the time, right? But then and are you going to regret it if you delete everything? But then at the same time, like you say, do you want those memories? Do you want them popping up or and then if you get in a new relationship, do you keep the pictures? So what do you guys think?
good point. I keep everything because I just feel like, yeah, I'm not gonna look at them, right? But as you say,
Mhm,
like, it was part of my story. It's,
mhm,
to me, shaped me into something, that relationship. And sometimes,
mhm.
you look back and you say like, I was so cute and so thin back then or whatever. Uh, but also it just makes you like, I don't know, like appreciate the person that you were then and
Mhm.
see the change that you've made now, and feel good for that relationship that shaped you in that case. Obviously, if
Mhm.
my relationship had been like very bad or abusive relationship or something like that, for sure, like I don't want any I don't want to remember that. But if the relationship was okay-ish, I'll keep it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I wouldn't want to kind of delete that portion of the story. And I think one thing I
Mhm.
did do is take all the photos off my phone and dump them onto a hard drive. So they're
Mhm.
like away. I can access them if I want to, but they're not popping up in a memory randomly on a Thursday afternoon. And also, because I'm a YouTuber, my engagement was on YouTube and still is on
Oh.
YouTube. The whole of my engagement is on there. And I was like, do I delete this? Do I not? And I'm like,
No, monetizing the money.
yeah, everyone go watch that so I can make money off my failed engagement, please.
Exactly. Everybody go. We'll put the link of the video in the description.
But I thought, no, like it's the part of the journey, part of what brought me here, like you say. And it's like, you know,
And
and
if
it's
it was like a
monetized,
nice
so there's
engagement
that.
as well, like you want to remember it, right? Like, oh, look, it was a very nice thing, and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I
Mm.
wouldn't
I
want
imagine some people do delete and then regret later, because I feel like people sometimes do these things on the impulse of how they're
Yeah.
feeling, and then maybe later, like in many years, you might look back fondly on that. It might be you might feel differently.
I mean, it would be like a Marie Kondo type of thing, right? Doesn't bring me joy. You throw it away, and then like a couple of months later, it's like, where was that jacket?
Yeah. That's the story
It'll
of
bring me
my
a lot of
life.
joy right now.
Yeah. So I like the idea of like dumping everything onto a hard drive,
Mhm.
removing it from the devices that you use on a daily basis,
Mhm.
um, and just like like it's out of sight, out of mind. And then at some point when you are healed, years down the line, when we're old and we just go back through our memories, we can just look back and you know see how young and sweet we were and how much
Yeah.
we've learned from every single one of our experiences, and how those things that happened, sometimes they were for the better, even though we didn't see it at the moment. They were for the better, and something much better was waiting for you after.
Yeah. I love that. That's
Yeah.
such an uplifting thought.
Yes. Find the positive always. I mean, at
Mm,
the moment, don't get me wrong, no one is going to find the positive, and it's perfectly okay. It's okay to be miserable for a while. As I always say, like, life is like driving. So in that case, your road was closed and you had to take a detour. But now that detour maybe is taking you somewhere much better. Even
yeah.
though you're going to arrive maybe at the same destination, the same dream that you've always had for your life and how your life was going to look like. It might take you a little bit longer, but you're doing loads of things. Like, would you have written a book if this didn't happen?
No.
Would you be helping so many women going through breakups? Would you have done this time next year challenge?
Yeah, when I look back at all of the things that have come out of the breakup, it does, as much as it sucked at the time, it makes it
Yeah.
worth it. Like, I wouldn't go back and change it. I've made
Hmm.
friends as a result of this. I've, changed my career. I wrote the book. I and I just think all of these things and the way that I've challenged myself to become kind of like a better version of myself, push myself out of my comfort zone. All these things would never have happened. I would never have gotten involved in pageants, and now that is like my joy in life. And I'm like that. I would have done that. There are places I never would have visited. And so, as
Exactly.
much as it does suck in the moment,
Hmm.
you will look back and think,
Yeah.
okay, it happened, but I'm fine now. And
Yeah.
so much positive has come as a result of that little detour.
Yeah. Because
Mhm.
like, I don't think anybody has a perfect life. Everybody has a moment in their life that something feels like the end of the world. For some people, it's breakups. For other people, it might be, I don't know, like a job finishing, all of those type of things. But yeah, we need to try to, with time, look at the positive that experience brought us.
Yeah, definitely.
And if somebody listening to this is going through one of like a breakup or something similar, you mentioned doing like one positive thing a day. Could you just give us a few examples of the things you did to give them inspiration for how
Oh
they
yeah,
could start
that's
doing those
important.
things?
Mhm.
Okay, so first thing I did is I made myself a little spider diagram and I
A
wrote
what?
a spider diagram. No, like a little,
Spider diagram.
yeah,
Like a
Oh,
mind map? Have you heard, or a
okay.
yeah. So,
I'm learning something new. Okay. Mhm.
so in the middle, I wrote, this time next year, I am. And then I wrote all the ways I wanted my life to look different. But the main caveat to that is it can't be external things. So it wouldn't be like this time next year, I'm in a new relationship. This time next year, I am, I have like a boat. Because again, that's just like looking for external validation. So I wrote things like this time next year, I am more confident talking to strangers. This time next year, I am someone who goes to the gym. And then all I did was every day I was like, okay, what's one step I can take to turn me into this person? So it would be tiny things to start with, like going for a walk around the block, listening to a podcast about something that I wanted to learn about, reading a chapter of a book. And the more I got into the habit of just doing something small every day, the more I started pushing myself out of my comfort zone. And I started doing kind of nuts things. Like I signed up to do a skydive. I accepted a job offer in Vietnam. I signed up for a beauty pageant. And all these things like took me on these wild side quests that I wasn't expecting. But the more that it starts with the tiniest things, right? Go for a walk around the block, read a chapter of a book, drink more water today. So small. And a lot of times people will say to me on TikTok, like, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. And I'm like, well, that's how you know you're doing the right amount. Because if it feels like too much, it's too much. But it needs to be small things. And then you'll build up confidence. You'll build up like a sense of like wanting to try more. And you don't know where it'll take you. And I'm a firm believer of like, just do everything that comes your way. Like this interview, I was so scared when I was like, can I be interviewed? I was like, they're not going to want to interview me. And I'm like, no, throw yourself out there. Throw yourself out of a plane, throw yourself onto a podcast interview, throw yourself like to Vietnam. And if the worst comes to the worst and you don't like where you end up, you can always just move and change lanes again. But it starts
Exactly.
with really, really tiny things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna do my spider map now.
Yeah, do.
Not
Mhm.
tonight because I need to go do my face stuff and read my book. But this weekend I'm gonna work on it now that I know what it is.
If you
I'm
go
gonna do my this time next year.
If you go on my TikTok, there's a little video that shows you exactly how to do it and set it out. So you'll
Okay.
have,
Do you have it pinned
I
on
have
the?
it pinned, yeah.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
I feel like I love the fact that you said it's like about things internally. You know, you said about like confidence in speaking to people or speaking to strangers
Yeah.
and stuff. I think that's so nice because so much goal setting is focused on the external.
Yeah, like
So I
the
think it's
vision
so
boards, right?
nice.
It's like an
Yeah.
internal vision board.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm
And I
Yeah.
think you've got to feel good within yourself. That needs to be the foundation of your happiness, not stuff and not like how you look. It's got to start
Yeah.
with yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that a lot of our listeners, if they are a little bit younger, they get this and they don't have to wait until like me, 37, almost 38. That's when I've learned this. And recently I'm just like, whatever, I'm happy with myself. I don't care what anybody else says. So yeah, I hope if anybody listening to this that is younger, please make sure that you apply this because it's the best, honestly. It makes a big change to your life.
Yeah.
So before we end, where can people find your book for starters and share your social media handles and everything so people know where to find you?
Yes. So my book is available on Amazon. It's called Just As I Am by Amy Rebecca. And if you type that in, you will find it. I am on the cover, so you'll know it's the right one. And then you can find me on TikTok and Instagram. It's _ Amy Rebecca. And then I'm on YouTube at Amy Rebecca.
Perfect. Very easy to find. Again, we're going to have all of the links anyway on the description, so make sure that you check it out. I feel like I've learned a lot of things to start applying moving forward. And hopefully there won't be any breakup in my future. But
same.
anything that happens, I know I can do exactly the same process, because I think it can be applied to any type of situations, and especially situations maybe where you're grieving something, but also to try to be happier within yourself. So I'm going to start putting that into practice. I'm pretty sure Jasmine as well. And hopefully all of you listening to this episode will do too. So thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Females Thriving Over 30 podcast, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.